All right. I'm Troy Thompson, and this is the pastor for the Crossing Point Church.
Crossing Point Church.
All right. And I'm here today to interview him for a few questions for my course in faith and physiological inquiry. I always say it wrong. But the topic that we're going to be talking about and getting more in detail with is the evidence for belief in God. All right. First question. All right. All right. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me here. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. First question. What is your position in your organization?
I am the pastor, senior pastor of the church, and I would say the chairman of Crossing Point Christian Church.
Okay. All right. What are your steps that led you to make this decision to become this position?
Okay. Well, real quick, I never thought that I would be pastoring a church. I directed a nonprofit organization, and I used to be a former banker. And so, as we worked several years directing a nonprofit organization that we started with social services, I was also in the ministry, assistant pastor at another church. And I think that, helping people, is something I love to do. And again, never thought about pastoring the church, but there was a drawing, toward pastoring. And so, I thought about it, prayed about it, talked to a lot of people about it. And ultimately something just started, kind of burning on the inside. It's something I had to do.
Absolutely, I understand that. How deep, when it comes to your religion, how deep are your roots?
I guess when we're talking about, how deep is my religion, talking about from a kid growing up.
Family aspect.
Family aspect. Well, I grew up in a church, a family that they were not big churchgoers, but sporadically went to church from Lutheran to Presbyterian, to Baptist, on and on. So just at spurts during my life, it would be in Methodist. We hit the Methodist church too. So with that said, we would have a spike in going to church, or me and my brother going by ourselves. They send the bus around, pick us up as kids, that age, like your kids. Yeah. And so it wasn't until late high school, 11th grade, that I started going more consistently because of my wife, my girlfriend then, who is my wife now. So, a woman make you go to church. Nothing wrong with that, man. She helped me, really.
So, what religious faith do you follow?
Christian.
Christian, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. These questions right here are going to get a little bit more in detail about your beliefs.
All right.
What evidence do we as Christians have in God as followers? What evidence do we have that His existence is there?
Right.
Is it real?
Right. Well, I'd start from, what's the second question? So I can probably time in.
Okay, well, the second question was, what is your steps that led you to make your decision at this point?
Okay, all right. Let me start with the first one, what's the existence of God? And I'm not going to even mention the Bible, okay? I don't mention the Bible. I'm just going to talk about outside, all right? That, every kid, when they walk outside, looks up, say, who put those lights up there and who put the moon up there, okay? How is it that the clouds float around in the sky? how did that tree grow like that? And, you know, where does this fruit come from? And so inside of each person, we're not even talking about the Bible right now, inside of each person is a curiosity to figure out who did what, okay? With that said, everything that's outside, okay, has an order about itself.
Okay.
We roll around the sun 365 days a year. 24 hours a day, the planet's turning. The seasons come and the seasons go. So, I mean, there is an order about things. And so, and everything eats everything, you know, to survive. Does that make sense? All right? You don't have any energy or food to eat, then guess what? You die, wither away, boom. Okay. So, with that said, again, I'm not mentioning the Bible, I'm just talking about outside, okay? And how me, okay, thinks about these things.
Okay.
And saying that there is a God. As a kid, looking up and looking in the sky and saying, man, who put that up there? Understanding that nobody I know was able to do something like that. And so whoever was able to put that moon up there and to keep everything rocking and rolling, okay, that's God. Now, going a little bit further as I got older, qualifying that and saying, okay, how do I know I'm following the right religion? All right, I could be following, you know, Buddhist, Muhammad, Hindu, Krishna, whoever. And this is where I come down on it. That, number one, I understand that somebody had, nothing comes from nothing. Somebody put all this together, okay? And somebody that's more powerful, somebody that's greater. Again, people talk about aliens and this, that, and the other, but somebody made them if they're out there. So everything has an origin. And if we go back far enough, then somebody had to start. Okay? Generally speaking, we call that entity, person, God. All right? Now, let me hurry along. That I mentioned earlier that when I look around, everything has an order to it. Okay? We're not running into any planets. We're not sideswiping Mars or Venus. I mean, we just, you know, we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no strings. You know, we don't use unleaded fuel to make the earth spin. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We got floating sprinkler systems, vacuum cleaners, you know, from hurricanes to tornadoes. Somebody has this thing going, and it's an order to things. And so if there is an order, then that means whoever created everything, okay, has an order to everything, a structure that's set. And the mere fact that we can recognize that there is something out there that is drawing us to be curious about what that is, we have that in our minds. Because, you know, my dog is not looking up thinking who made that, or animal, they're not looking up, they're worried about, they're looking down trying to get something to eat. So they're not worried about bigger philosophical things. And so that tells me that because we have that awareness, and I'm just talking about me, because I have that awareness, then he or God is trying to get me to understand him.
So you think it would be safe to say that the evidence that you have in God is more or less comes from a spiritual feeling?
No, I would say, you know, well, not to that part yet, but I think it's both. I think it's a physical and a spiritual awareness.
I believe that God works through us spiritually, and he works through others spiritually, and what he orders or makes them do becomes physical. That's what I believe.
Okay. Now, I think there is a aspect in which God does do that. Leads us to, move in certain situations and deal with certain people. People have different names for that: serendipity, coincidence, fortune, fate, karma. I mean, it's all kind of different names for being in the right place at the right time, mysteriously. Okay? But I also throw in an aspect when I talk about physically and spiritually, is that we have free will. We have the ability to make choices. And choice is a product of love. And so if you may want to...
Mir, do not touch that.
It's a product of love. There's no free choice without love. And so, when you're talking about getting around to the existence of God, or if he's out there, again, not, pulling out the Bible, because there are people who never even seen the Bible. But they have looked up and said, man, what is that up there? They have loved people and wanted freedom to make choices. And they have wanted people to listen to them. They have wanted their environment to be structured. So I'm saying these things because, without even talking about the Bible, a lot of the things that we see everywhere, we want the same things. We want structure. We want to give whatever that is, and to people, that love and affection. We want people to listen to us. We want to create things, and we want things to live and grow and expand. Now, I say all that, in this, that with that said, when you're talking about the existence of God, we know somebody had to create everything, but not only that he's an orderly God. He likes things to go in a certain way, okay? And he likes to provide, okay? Because we have fruit trees, we have, all these things we can eat, okay, that are edible to us. They don't kill us. Some do, but the far majority of things we are able to eat and consume and live, from animals to plants to fruit, all right? We have a natural inclination to have children, to grow our herds, to build bigger houses or villages or whatever the case may be. And so everything that is out there is growing, is expanding, is life. Life is multiplying, all right? Now let me bring it home right here, is that when we're talking about, am I following, the right religion, relationship, God, whatever, okay, is that if he obviously is a God of order, if he's a God of order,
TJ, do not touch it.
that is it stopped?
Mirror's in the picture.
It's okay. It's okay.
If he is, obviously he's a God of structure and a God of order.
TJ, do not touch. It's gonna fall. Sit down. Get your hands off of this shit. TJ, get away from it. Go sit down.
If he is a God of order, and we see that from all the evidence. If he is a God of multiplication and a God of increase, which we see, okay? Because everything on earth expands and it grows and it multiplies, all right? It recycles. Then, and we're aware of him. We have this in our minds that something's out there. We want to know what that is, what's behind the curtain. then he has given us that awareness to know that. He's given us that brain to know that. I have kids just like you do running through here, and I always laugh sometimes when I walk up on them at school. And the only way they know I'm there is I make them aware that I'm there. Otherwise, I sit back and watch them. And so he has, I believe, made us aware with our minds, the mind that he has given us, so that we can know and can wonder who made and created all of this. Okay, we have many aspects. All right. Now here's the thing. That if he is a God of structure, if he is a God of order, if there is a way of life or living and a way of death, of dying, because you got life and you got dead. You don't have in between. Okay? Everything is structure. Then that means that he wants us to know that he is not a chaotic God of multiplicity. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So whenever I hear, or whenever I'm looking at something, and when I was looking at religions or what have you, going through the cycle of growth, reading all the other religions, saying, am I following the right one? Is this the right boom, boom, boom? I mean, one of the major things is that was all these gods and Zeus and all these multiple gods and I mean, half of them you can find their grave and it's and it speaks nothing of the order and the structure, and so I believe that it is God revealing to us, wanting us to find the right path, that it can't be multiple paths, but it has to be, a right and a wrong, up and a down, and a life and a death, because that's how you structured everything. To me, it seems everything. It is no gray areas of death and life. There no zombie plants and zombie animals. It's life and death. There is no night and kind of day-ish. It is either light or it's dark. Alive or dead. It's up or down. It's crashing in or it's expanding. And so it seems as though if that's the case, then God is not going to give us 50 million paths to get to him. We're aware of him, so obviously he's trying to communicate to us. And I think that's the big issue is how in the world do we know which one is the right one? Which one is the right one? And so that's when we have to knock, as the Bible says, ask, and we have to seek. And the Bible says that if we ask and if we knock and if we seek, it's going to be answered. The door is going to be open and we're going to find it. And I'm going to jump to the Bible now. Even looking back, Abram was not a believer. They built lead idols. And so God communicated with him and spoke to him. And he formed a relationship with him when there was no Bible. Going back to Adam and Eve, as the Bible talked about Cain and Noah and all these. There was no written Bibles, and there was nothing like that. No type of religions like that, or if there was, they were pagan, whatever the case may be. But he still talked to them, and they were curious, and they conversated, and they desired to know what was right and what was wrong. And at the end of the day, it said that because they sought him and they followed what he asked them to do or what he drew them to do, it says that it was counted as righteousness upon them, because by faith, or that word pistis means trust and confidence in God, they followed what he asked them to do. And because of that faith, then he said he accounted it to righteousness for the saving of their souls.
Well, that's good. That's good. And we're going to wrap it up with one last question.
I'm sorry, I took a little long time.
No, you're fine.
Yes.
What is the appropriate steps that one might take
Right.
to become a follower
Of
follower of God?
okay, what God? Any God? What they
Only one
perceive?
God. What they perceive?
What they perceive. Okay.
Their higher power.
Their higher power. Okay. I think the first thing that one has to do is, and I think in any case, and I think the Christian religion relationship that we have, because we call it a relationship, not a religion, because a religion is a repetitious behavior that has significance from somebody. I often talk to the congregation about having a coffee religion. That you can wake up in the morning, if you don't have your cup of coffee, you're mad, you're angry, you know. As soon as you have your cup of coffee, you feel better. You know, I'm fighting with a coffee religion, pray for me. And so we call Christianity a relationship because it's based upon love. Like if you love somebody, then you will do what they say. You'll want to know them better. You want to get to know them better. You want to hang with them more, okay? But if a person is looking for that type of connection, then the first thing I would suggest they do is they just pray. Or they just talk to, you know, take time, sit down and just, maybe they think they're talking to themselves, but sit down and I would suggest they, what is tradition called praying. And just say, hey, you know, God, if you're out there, you know, show me, introduce me to, bring across my path the right people. Show me the right things. Show me the right religion I need to get into because I want to follow you and only you. Okay? Now, once they do that, I always encourage, start studying. Pull out all the religions you want to pull out. And just read through them. Okay? Go visit. Go check it out. But I think when it's all said and done, that if you have a desire to really find the truth, that you'll know it from the inside. Okay? And so, you know, the Bible, Christendom, is not afraid of you looking. God's not afraid of that. He said, let us come and let us discuss. You know, he's not afraid of that. Matter of fact, everybody's on a trek to find him. You just can't stop and say, oh, you know, I got it. You know, just like being a husband or, you know, everybody can relate to this if y'all looking. You got to do more than just go down the aisle and say, I do. You know, you got to do more than just date. You know, if you're really going to know that person, you got to commit to them, you know, and grow with them. And you'll know over a period of time if that's the one for you or not. You know, just like, and I tell everybody, I mean, it's just, you know, it's like that. I mean, you know, people date multiple people and they never commit to any of them. But if you really want to get to know that person, you got to spend some time with them.
Absolutely.
And you find out, I don't think that's for me. You go over here, you know, you say, okay, you meet somebody else, you know, a little different. You date them, get serious, you know, really try to understand them. That's not for me. You will run across the right one. You'll run across the right one. So I would just encourage people, keep looking, keep digging, keep searching, and keep that open mind and allow your heart to lead you.
All right, well, like I said at the beginning, thanks for your time. I really do appreciate it. Like, I really do.
Yeah, no problem.
That's about it. I think that's right.
All right. Don't forget, Jesus is the way. Get the shortcut.
Yeah, right?
That's the Cliff Note version.
24 minutes.
24?
24
You
minutes.
can edit it down. Like, Lord, he took a long time.